The Dodgers changed their rotation for the NLDS. The Rams are bemoaning an offense that comes up just short in the red zone, and USC adds to its recruiting class by taking someone from Oklahoma. Again. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is October 4th, 2024, and yes, once again, the elitists of Snob Diego are trying to bar Dodger fans from getting tickets to go see the playoffs, proving once again there are no Padres fans. There are only Dodger haters. If the Puds actually had a fan base, there would be no need to bar ticket sales outside of Slime Diego, which is another reason why LA is the greatest sports city in the world. So if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes and look at the scoreboard, there weren't any games involving LA teams yesterday, but today, Angel City is at Seattle at 7 o'clock, and there is breaking news about Angel City. They are in trouble, and after what happened, pretty much left for dead. The NWSL has fined Angel City for violating the league's salary cap and took 3 points away from them in the standings. This means they are 9 points out of the last playoff spot, and they have only 4 matches to go. As if that weren't enough, the president and the GM have been suspended for the rest of the calendar year. The league is going to audit all of club spending, and then they kidnap Bob Iger's youngest child. Honestly, Angel City likely deserved it. This is the second time they've been sanctioned in a tampering case for a player. They were also fined for how they hired a former coach away from New York. So, yeah, Angel City has to clean up its act. We face reality here at Faithful Angelenos. And let's get to the news. The Dodgers have switched up their playoff rotation against Slime Diego. They're going to go with Yoshinobu Yamamoto to start Game 1 in Saturday. Now, Jack Flaherty will go in Game 2. The switch appears to have been made because Yamamoto tends to pitch on 6 days of rest. This keeps his schedule intact. So be it. What do I care? Dave Roberts also said that Yamamoto, who missed 3 months with a right rotator cuff strain, will be able to throw 100 pitches for the first time since he returned to the team after missing those 3 months. There is an additional possibility, by the way, again, going with that 6 days of rest thing, that Yamamoto could be available and pitch Game 5 if needed. There have been a lot of analysts, as you might imagine, talking about the Dodgers Padres series, and they will continue to do so because it's probably the only compelling one at this stage of the playoffs. So when you and I talk about it, let's just establish the following as a baseline so we don't have to continually repeat ourselves and then maybe find something interesting. Starting rotation advantage, Slime Diego. Bullpens, pretty much even. Lineups, kind of even, although the Dodgers are super scary as hell in spaces 1 through 3. LA's big story, you're going to hear about it repeatedly. Shohei Ohtani, finally in the playoffs after all of those years. Big story for Slum Diego, Fernando Tatis, back in the playoffs because he finally stopped taking performance enhancers. So are we cool? Great. Let's move on. If you are a Rams fan, as I am, you look for whatever ray of hope you can to say, this 1-3 start doesn't matter much. After all, you could say, hey, the Rams were 3-6 at one point last season. That team made the playoffs. Here's the problem. A 1-3 start actually matters a hell of a lot. Since the NFL went to a 17-game season in 2021, only 3 of 25 teams started 1-3 and went on to make the playoffs. And by the way, all three of those teams were back in 2021. So it's definitely an anomaly. So you're saying, well, what can we fix to try to get something going? You can't fix the defense because there's all that youth. Only in experience and father time can fix youth. I would argue the one thing that they can control is their red zone offense. In 4 games, the Rams have gotten to the red zone 17 times, and they have only scored 7 touchdowns. Put it another way, the Rams offense doesn't necessarily suck because they've had possession for 39 drives, and they get to the red zone 17 times. That means they get to the red zone almost half the time. And then the offensive unit, all 11 men simultaneously step on a rake. They also had 7 field goals in the red zone. So if you run the numbers, that is at least another 21 points left off the scoreboard. Now, Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford agree. Players are not executing when the Rams need it most. Stafford told The Athletic, quote, "It's harder to run the football, harder to throw the football, all those kinds of things. But if you execute well down there, you can usually find your way into it," unquote. Kyron Williams then told the LA Daily News he feels like he's missing out on the little things, which means he's getting fewer yards. So at least he's taking personal responsibility for what the mistakes that are going on. Quote, "There were opportunities where I could have hit the vertical seams and the defenses, and I kind of bailed them out. My main focus is just attacking people in space, not bailing them out and making them tackle me one-on-one. I feel like if we can average 5 yards a play running the ball, we're in good shape," unquote. Now, if you are looking for good news, on the defense, cornerback Darius Williams, who hasn't played this season due to a hamstring injury, is now a full participant in practice. Whether he's playing in Sunday's game, we don't know yet. I probably shouldn't take intense pleasure every time Oklahoma loses, but I can't help myself. I can't help myself because of how they reacted to Lincoln Riley coming to USC. Sooner fans not only threatened their former coach and his family for moving to LA, they allegedly broke into his house. Can you imagine anybody in LA doing that for a coach leaving? Hell, I could name legions of UCLA fans who would have gladly helped Chip Kelly pack and then top off his gas tank to boot. And by the way, I worked 3 months in Tulsa a year or so ago, and that state, I'm here to tell you, is every bit as pleasant and as charming as Haiti. So even if LA doesn't take the coach, or for that matter, a Heisman-winning quarterback, I enjoy Oklahoma losing. So, join me. Take a moment, find your zen, maybe even light a pumpkin spice latte scented candle, and smile at the thought that once again, LA has taken something football related from that manure pit state we have in the middle of the country. Defensive line recruit Floyd Boucard, a 6'3", 315-pound tackle for the class of 2025, told On3.com that he was going to go to USC instead because, quote, "I see a great opportunity at USC. I was locked in with Oklahoma, but watching USC this season is really what changed my mind. Seeing how they rotate defensive linemen, how they play underclassmen, and seeing an opportunity to play early is what caught my attention," unquote. And by the way, this only goes back to something we've been saying for months. You're going to expect to see people go to USC on the defensive side, and then somebody might talk them out of it, but that's all going to change once they see the adjustments that D'Anton Lynn has made with the defense. Now recruits are seeing it, now they're changing their mind and coming to USC instead of the other way around. Moreover, the lineman mentioned Riley actually pushed harder to land Boucard after he said he was going to go to Oklahoma. Gee, I wonder why. He is the third defensive lineman recruit, by the way, to join the class of 2025. This one might actually nudge the Trojans into the top 10 recruiting classes for that year. J.J. Redick said Anthony Davis and LeBron James will be playing in the preseason, including the preseason opener, which will be tonight. Redick told ESPN he doesn't know how many minutes they will play. I don't know how smart of an idea it is, to be honest with you. We all know how gimpy Davis and James, for that matter, are at this stage in their careers. But to be fair, the both of them played about 20 minutes last preseason. And Redick's installing a brand new offense, so some court time might actually be prudent. Also with the Lakers, D'Angelo Russell was asked what led to his apology on Media Day, where he took responsibility for an occasional lack of professionalism. He said he wanted to decrease the attention he gets that has nothing to do with basketball. Quote, "At the end of the day, the main goal is basketball. For me, I'm trying to eliminate the distractions that y'all can use against me or say against me. Trying to eliminate it," unquote. And this, of course, is correct. This is something that will make him an infinitely better person and player if he chooses to adhere to it. Here is a life hack for anybody younger than me, and there's a lot of people who are younger than me. Here is a life hack it took me decades to appreciate. Accountability goes a long way to solving the problems in your life. Just admit it, correct it, and move on, instead of just trying to sabotage other people by not copping up to what you've lacked. Just go on with your life. In a meritocracy, which is what sports is, by the way, in a meritocracy, you're trying to achieve a result in the most efficient manner possible. Cutting down on the problems inevitably leads to better results, and that is what accountability is. So, great. He understands why he apologized and what he's trying to achieve from that. Hopefully he follows through. On the Chargers, J.K. Dobbins talked a lot before the season started about how he was an elite back, just nobody knew it yet. The average yards per carry, etc., things like that. He has 79 yards and 29 carries over the last 2 games. I don't want to overreact here. I mean, after all, there are legions of hot take spewers, not just on YouTube, but on every channel with sports, I mean, for Pete's sake, multiple news sites have something called reaction or overreaction, and then they argue over something. So I'm not trying to overreact on Dobbins. I simply want to hit the pause button on him being elite. He will very likely have a 1,000-yard season. And if he gets there, the Chargers would be absolutely thrilled because they haven't had one since Melvin Gordon back in 2017. But an elite back? Putting him up there with the pantheon of like Sanders or Peyton or Dickerson? Not so much. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Are you okay with Yamamoto starting game 1 for the Dodgers? What would you do for the Rams to try to make them more efficient in the red zone? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Portel Queso production. Take care.